Ezra English. Idioms Series. Short Lessons. Topic: Foods and Drinks.
Salad days. Salad days is an idiom that refers to a time in one's life when they were young, inexperienced, and carefree. It's a phrase that conjures up images of bright summer days, fresh vegetables, and innocence. The term comes from Shakespeare's play Antony and Cleopatra, where Cleopatra reminisces about her youth and says, "My salad days, when I was green in judgment." The phrase is often used to describe a time in one's life when they were in their prime, and everything seemed possible. It's a time when we were free from responsibilities, worries, and stress. It's a time when we felt invincible, and the future was full of promise. We can use this phrase in a variety of situations, such as when we're talking about our childhood, teenage years, or early adulthood. For example, we might say, "I remember my salad days when I had no bills to pay and all the time in the world to do whatever I wanted." Or we might say, "Those were my salad days when I was studying abroad, traveling the world, and exploring new cultures." Another way to use this phrase is when we're talking about someone else's youth. For instance, we might say, "He's in his salad days now, and he doesn't even realize how lucky he is." Or we might say, "I envy her salad days, when she's young and beautiful, and everything seems possible." The idiom can also be used in a humorous way, such as when we're talking about someone who's past their prime. For example, we might say, "He's way past his salad days now, he's more like a wilted lettuce." In addition to its literal meaning, the phrase salad days can also be used metaphorically to describe a time in one's life when they were at their best. It's a time when we were at the peak of our physical and mental abilities. For example, we might say, "Those were my salad days when I was the captain of the football team and had a 4.0 GPA." The phrase is often used in a nostalgic or wistful way, as if looking back on a time that can never be recaptured. It's a reminder that life is fleeting and that we should savor every moment while we can. It's also a reminder that youth is not always wasted on the young and that we should cherish our salad days when we have them. In conclusion, salad days is an idiom that describes a time in one's life when they were young, inexperienced, and carefree. It's a phrase that can be used to describe one's own youth or someone else's. We can use it in a variety of situations, from humorous to nostalgic. It's a reminder to cherish the moments we have while we have them, and to appreciate the time when we were at our best.
Butter someone up. Have you ever heard someone say they were going to butter someone up? This idiom may sound strange to some people, but it is actually quite common in English. When we say someone is buttering someone up, it means they're trying to flatter or compliment that person to gain their favor or to get something from them. Think of it as spreading butter on a piece of toast. It's meant to make the toast taste better, just like the compliments are meant to make the other person feel good and be more receptive to whatever request is coming their way. For example, imagine that you want to borrow your friend's car. You know that your friend is really proud of their car and takes good care of it. You might start buttering them up by complimenting their car, telling them how great it looks and how well they take care of it. This way, when you eventually ask to borrow the car, your friend might be more inclined to say yes because they feel flattered by your compliments. The idiom butter someone up can be used in a variety of situations, both in personal and professional settings. It's often used in situations where one person wants to get something from another person, and they think that flattery or compliments will help them achieve their goal. Here are a few examples of questions that could be asked in a speaking test that might require the use of the idiom butter someone up, along with possible answers. Question: have you ever had to butter someone up to get what you wanted? Answer: yes, I have. While I was applying for a job, I knew that the hiring manager was really proud of the company and liked to hear compliments about it. So, during my interview, I made sure to tell her how much I admired the company's values and mission. I think it helped me stand out from other candidates and ultimately helped me get the job. Question: do you think it's ethical to butter someone up to get what you want? Answer: it depends on the situation. I think it's okay to give compliments or flattery if they're genuine and sincere. However, if you're just saying things to get something from someone and you don't really mean them, that's not ethical. Question: have you ever had someone try to butter you up? Answer: yes, I have. One time, a salesperson at a store was really complimenting my outfit and telling me how great it looked on me. I knew they were just trying to get me to buy more clothes, so I didn't really take their compliments seriously. Overall, the idiom butter someone up is a common expression in English that is used to describe a situation where someone is trying to flatter or compliment someone else in order to get something from them. It's a good example of how idioms can make language more colorful and interesting.
Sugarcoat. Have you ever received news that was hard to swallow? Perhaps it was a difficult diagnosis from a doctor, a breakup with a partner, or negative feedback from a boss. Whatever it was, chances are you would have appreciated a little bit of sugarcoating to make the news more palatable. But what does it mean to sugarcoat something? To sugarcoat means to make something seem more pleasant or attractive than it really is, often by presenting it in a way that is overly positive or by downplaying the negative aspects. This idiom is derived from the practice of adding sugar to bitter medicines to make them more tolerable, and has since been used to describe any situation where someone tries to make something less unpleasant, or more attractive than it actually is. For example, imagine you're a teacher who has to tell a parent that their child is struggling in school. Instead of saying, "Your child is failing math and has been absent from class a lot," you might sugarcoat the news by saying, "Your child is a great student and has a lot of potential, but could benefit from some extra support and attention in math class." Another example might be when a politician wants to downplay the negative effects of a proposed policy. They might say, "This policy will create some short-term challenges, but in the long run it will lead to greater prosperity for everyone." In reality, the policy may have serious negative consequences for certain groups of people, but the politician is sugarcoating the news to make it more palatable to the public. In a speaking test, a common question that could be asked using this idiom is, "Can you give an example of a time when someone sugarcoated the truth for you?" A possible response could be, "Last year, I was up for a promotion at work, but ended up being passed over in favor of a colleague. When I asked my boss for feedback on why I didn't get the job, he sugarcoated the truth by saying that I was a great employee and had a lot of potential, but that my colleague had slightly more experience in the particular area of the job that was most important for this role." While I appreciated the positive feedback, I knew deep down that there were probably other reasons why I didn't get the promotion. Another question that could be asked is, in what situations is it acceptable to sugarcoat the truth? A possible response could be, "I think it's important to be honest and straightforward in most situations, but there are times when it can be appropriate to sugarcoat the truth." For example, if you're giving someone bad news that they can't do anything about, like a medical diagnosis, it might be kinder to soften the blow by sugarcoating the news. Or if you're giving feedback to someone who is very sensitive or insecure, you might want to sugarcoat your feedback a bit to avoid damaging their confidence. However, in general, I believe it's best to be honest and direct with people, even if it's uncomfortable or difficult. Overall, sugarcoating is a common communication strategy used in many different contexts. While it can be useful in certain situations, it's important to be aware of the potential downsides of sugarcoating, such as misleading others or avoiding difficult truths. By striking a balance between honesty and kindness, we can use this idiom effectively and ethically in our everyday interactions.
Lemonade out of lemons. Have you ever heard the phrase, "When life gives you lemons, make lemonade"? Well, the idiom lemonade out of lemons is a variation of that phrase, meaning to make the best out of a bad situation. When faced with a difficult or unpleasant circumstance, the idiom suggests that we should try to find the positive aspects and make the most of what we have. The origin of this idiom is unclear, but it may have been inspired by the process of making lemonade. Lemon juice, water, and sugar are combined to make a refreshing drink, turning a sour fruit into something sweet and enjoyable. Similarly, when we make lemonade out of lemons, we are turning a negative situation into something positive. For example, imagine you have been laid off from your job. It's a tough situation to be in, but instead of dwelling on the negatives, you can look for ways to make the most out of the situation. Maybe you can use the time to take a course or learn a new skill that will make you more employable in the future. Or, you could take the opportunity to travel or pursue a passion that you've been putting off. By making the most out of your situation, you are making lemonade out of lemons. The idiom lemonade out of lemons can be used in various contexts, including in job interviews, where interviewers may ask candidates to describe how they handled a difficult situation. Here are some example questions and suggested answers using the idiom. Question: describe a time when you faced a difficult situation at work. How did you handle it? Answer: last year, our team was assigned a project that was behind schedule and over budget. It was a difficult situation, but we decided to make lemonade out of lemons. We reevaluated our timeline and budget and found ways to be more efficient and cut costs without sacrificing quality. In the end, we were able to complete the project on time and under budget. Question: can you tell me about a time when you faced a setback in your career? Answer: after I graduated from college, I applied to several jobs in my field but wasn't able to secure a position right away. It was discouraging, but I decided to make lemonade out of lemons. I used the time to volunteer and gain additional experience in my field, which made me a more competitive candidate in the long run. Eventually, I was offered a position that was a great fit for me. Question: have you ever faced a difficult customer or client? How did you handle the situation? Answer: yes, I had a client who was unhappy with the service we provided. Instead of getting defensive, I tried to make lemonade out of lemons by listening to their concerns and finding ways to address them. We offered additional services and made changes to our process to better meet their needs. By taking the time to understand their perspective and make changes, we were able to salvage the relationship and turn the situation into a positive one. In conclusion, lemonade out of lemons is an idiom that encourages us to find the positive aspects in a difficult situation and make the most of what we have. Whether it's in a job interview or in everyday life, the idiom can be used to demonstrate resilience and problem-solving skills. By turning a negative situation into something positive, we can overcome challenges and achieve success.